September 10th, 2025. Utah Valley University. Hundreds gather in the open campus square as dusk settles over Orem, Utah. At center stage stands Charlie Kirk, a prominent voice in America's conservative movement. Security guards flank him, cameras pan across the crowd, and the front rows fill with supporters and curious students alike. The event is part of the American Comeback Tour. Kirk launches into his speech with his trademark energy, talking about America's future, society's polarization, and conservative values.
Well, Charlie Kirk, as always, he went to different universities and basically gave his speech to a lot of university students. He wanted to have a conversation. That was his thing. If you guys didn't agree with him, if anybody didn't agree with him, he didn't care. He wanted to go there and give his message. And Charlie Kirk was an Christian individual, and he was a right-wing activist. He was all about America first, and he wanted to give that message to people. He wanted to have a debate. He didn't like violence. He wanted to have a conversation. That was his thing. And a lot of people didn't like him. That's why he was there. He was like, why don't you like me? What do you disagree? Let's talk about it.
Cheers rise from the audience, but not everyone has come to cheer. Some are there to challenge his ideas. The Q&A begins. A student steps up and asks about gun violence in America. Kirk answers with confidence. All eyes are on him. Then it happens.
Well, Charlie Kirk wasn't the president of the United States or just somebody at a high level in the political world. Although he was a civilian, I mean, he was definitely highly regarded. But I would say he just didn't have, obviously, the security measures that a president would have or some high-level politician would have. In my personal opinion, about 6 police officers were on scene, about 3,000 people, and Charlie Kirk had his own personal detail in the close perimeter around him. If somebody basically attacked him physically in person at him, lunged at him, there was definitely security personnel around to take care of that. But when it comes to snipers in this case that we had, or threats from a distance away, there was no security whatsoever. And that's one thing that I noticed, right? Like Charlie Kirk is an activist, was a right-wing activist. So of course, there's a lot of people that loved him, a lot of people that didn't like him. That was the whole point. Have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see where we agree and disagree. And there's a lot of people that just couldn't stand him. And having that in hand, and there were a lot of death threats to Charlie Kirk. He talked about it openly to people. His friends always talked about it. Knowing that and not covering those rooftops, especially just, you're a stationary target. You're just sitting there. Somebody could easily assault you. And if his personal security couldn't handle it, the police department should have done something about it. And if they couldn't do something about it, then they should have definitely maybe reposition him at a position where any snipers from a distance could not see him, or just simply take it to indoors where they can control the environment a lot better.
A sudden, sharp sound cuts through the evening air. A single crack. Kirk is struck mid-sentence. The square falls silent for a split second before chaos erupts.
So the distance, according to the reports, it was between 150 to 200 yards. So just under 200 meters, maybe like 150 to 180 meters, somewhere right around that. It was at a rooftop, elevated position, maybe about 10 degrees elevated position. And Charlie was a stationary person. Charlie never moved. He just had his mic. He would just put the mic down and talk. He would just look left and right, but his body generally never moved. So given the, obviously the weapon platform that was used, given the position the shooter was, the distance, about 150 to 200 yards, and the caliber used, that was, in my personal opinion, was an easy shot. Even given the circumstances where you have your adrenaline dumping, you're actually shooting at a real human being. It's a very uneasy moment for a lot of people. Still, I don't think that was just a professional sniper assassin's job. It was, anybody can do it. Anybody with a little bit of a training can easily make that shot. In fact, on my own personal YouTube channel, I have demonstrated that. Definitely demonstrated that pretty well, in my personal opinion. But when it comes to shooters' preparation, first of all, the shooter was determined. The shooter, as we know, Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, he has used guns growing up. He's hunted before, so he was familiar with guns. But he was a 22-year-old, basically a kid, so he wasn't some professional shooter. And he did definitely plan the event, in my personal opinion, far in advance. He knew the area pretty well. He was from there. I am positive, almost positive, this is my personal opinion, that he actually probably went to other Charlie Kirk events or analyzed them very closely to see where his security is. And prior to this event, I bet you that he went to that location and did some advanced scouting and basically saw what area is good, what area is bad, and did his planning. And when the event happened, he went out there and did his thing. So he definitely had a pre-mission and post-mission plan. So that was, in my opinion, was decent, although he made a lot of mistakes. But when it comes to the shot, it was anybody can make it with a little bit of a training. It wasn't hard.
Security rushes the stage and people scream and scatter. Social media explodes within minutes. Charlie Kirk shot. Emergency crews arrive quickly, but the scene is too grim. Kirk is transported away under heavy security.
When I saw that video, by the way, I saw Charlie Kirk getting shot pretty much almost instantaneously. Somebody who was live streaming, they basically told us. I saw it as a person who has seen a lot of people shot with various calibers. I knew instantly. Like, I'm talking about within 5 minutes after the incident, so nobody knew what was going on. I don't even think Charlie Kirk was transported yet. The way that he took the hit to his neck and the way that the blood gushed out of his body, I was like, that's it, dead. I don't believe Charlie even felt pain. He didn't even know what happened to him. Hit him real hard. And in fact, this is the caliber that hit him. It's a 30-06. It goes about 3,000 feet per second, between 150 to 200 grains of bullet. That's going 3,000 feet per second. It is devastating. Hunters use that caliber for big games like deer and moose and all those big animals, bears, right? So when that hit Charlie in the neck, even if Charlie was on an operating table at a hospital and somebody shot him right there was no way of surviving. That was a fatal hit instantly.
Police seal off the campus. Hundreds of students are questioned. CCTV footage is examined. One urgent question hangs over everything. Who pulled the trigger? Within hours, investigators follow a trail of clues to a 22-year-old Utah resident named Tyler Robinson. Quiet, withdrawn, unknown in political circles. As detectives dig deeper, a chilling picture emerges. Officials recover a Mauser Model 98 bolt-action rifle with a mounted scope wrapped in a dark towel in a wooded area near Utah Valley University. Investigators find spent and unfired casings with disturbing inscriptions.
Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" "Catch!" Up arrow symbol, right arrow and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
To be honest, the investigators, when it comes to this case, they were doing pretty well when it comes to releasing his photographs to the media and instantly having the media and the folks out there getting the help of the community at large. Did pretty well on that one. But when it comes to decrypting the messages, I don't think they had much. They right away knew that this was probably a very young person because a gamer thing. He's used like the arrow up, left, down, like a gamer arrows. If you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO. This is not some sophisticated and older person, unless they're trying to kind of divert the conversation, would do. So investigators right off the gate knew that this may have been somebody in their teens or early 20s, college age. And of course, then they have the surveillance photograph of the suspect. Then they were pretty much convinced, but they still didn't know who this person was. So I don't want to give the investigators full credit. I mean, they did pretty good. They did very good getting all the information out immediately. Of course, Tyler's father gave him up. Saw that, oh, that's my son, talked to Tyler, convinced him, and was able to get Tyler turn himself in.
Discord logs show Robinson discussing a rifle wrapped in a towel, carving messages into bullets, and mentioning the campus event days before the shooting. Robinson's motive is still unclear. Why target Kirk? Why that day? Some experts speculate about ideological hatred. Others point to a personal breakdown. One fact is indisputable. His single bullet shook the nation. News of Kirk's death races across America. Television coverage breaks into regular programming. Hashtags trend worldwide. Conservatives decry the attack as an assault on free speech and call it a political assassination.
Well, first of all, it has nothing to do with the gun laws, right? The liberal media's gun control narrative is not going to apply to this one because Tyler Robinson assassinated Charlie Kirk with a bolt gun. And nobody on the gun control agenda on the left try to ban a bolt gun. Everybody wants to go after the AR-15s and the AK, all these assault rifles that they talk about. This is a bolt gun, okay? If you guys look at this thing, he basically used a gun, something like this. This is a hunting rifle. Not exactly like this, but it is just like that. One at a time. You fire the bullet, then you reset it, you fire the next bullet. This is not part of the gun control agenda. Now, gun violence definitely exists, but that's a completely different conversation. When it comes to free speech, in my personal opinion, this is going to ignite free speech even further, and in fact, it should. We see on the both side of the aisle, the right side, that everybody's mourning, they're very sad for Charlie's death. On the left side, there's a lot of folks celebrating his death. I don't think that's good for any nation. In any nation, when you express your political views without being violent, without inciting violence, and you're getting physically assaulted for that, assassinated for that, that is not good for any nation. Some people may disagree that, oh, you know what, Charlie Kirk was inciting violence by spreading hate. What is hate? We need to define hate. Somebody just tells you, hey, I don't believe in this politically, that's their opinion. And they should not be assassinated for that. I don't care if I believe in them, in their message or not. So in the country, there's a huge debate going on right now. In fact, people who are celebrating Charlie's death on the left are facing huge backlash at this point. So free speech, I think it's going to ignite even further events like Charlie Kirk's. Like, there's a lot of folks, activists out there that are going to hit the streets and do more of what Charlie was doing. I don't believe in this country by assassinating Charlie Kirk, people were able to stop the movement. In my personal opinion, it backfired. They pretty much reignited this movement.
Liberal commentators condemn the violence, noting Kirk's controversial rhetoric, yet agree that bloodshed cannot stand. Fear spreads. Universities tighten security. Parents and students ask whether any campus is safe. Abroad, newspapers describe the killing as a new threshold of political violence in the United States. It's not just one life lost. It's the realization that political tensions have spilled into the streets.
I think it's going to help on the social awakening, big time, in my personal opinion. Again, you don't have to agree or disagree with somebody. I think people should be able to have conversations. Charlie Kirk, that's what he wanted to do. Like, I personally did not agree with Charlie on everything. There are things that I agreed with him, and there are things I certainly did not agree with him. But I really respected him. I really did, because he wanted to get out there and have conversations. We don't really see a lot of people doing that. People always want to fight. And when they can't fight, like when they can't debate, they resort to violence and fights. And Charlie didn't like that. Charlie wanted to have a conversation. So I think now what's going to happen, in my personal opinion, is this is hopefully going to bring people a little bit closer together, that, hey, political violence is not acceptable. It is not acceptable in any avenue. You can disagree with somebody, but you can still have a conversation. You can walk away, but we don't just kill people, assassinate people, attack people because we just disagree with them. And if somebody is violating the law, they're inciting violence, then that is a law thing. Then the person could get arrested for it. Besides free speech, I'm talking about if they're just even going beyond free speech, they're inciting actual violence, then they could just face the consequences with the law. But just because we don't agree with him doesn't mean we're going to go attack him. And I think this social awakening is going to be big on that one. I believe people are going to be not necessarily much more tolerant. They're still going to disagree and fight whatever, but maybe people will be hopefully less violent when it comes to disagreements.
The Charlie Kirk assassination is not just the death of one man. It's a reflection of a fragile political climate. A gunshot ringing through a university courtyard shows that ideological conflicts are no longer fought with words alone. It's a grave warning for democracy. America now faces profound questions. Can the country resolve its differences without bloodshed? Will violence drive citizens further apart, or remind them of the importance of standing together? Does Kirk's death mark the start of a new era in U.S. politics?
When it comes to political violence, this is a very big milestone as well. Like, we're talking about Charlie Kirk, the man, whether you love him, you hate him, you agree with him, you disagree with him, was an incredibly intelligent person. And this person could have potentially been the next president or future president, I don't want to say next, future president of the United States. He was that good. He was impacting young people's lives like crazy. He helped Donald Trump get elected big time. So he really resonated with the young people. So this is a huge milestone. Like, a person like Charlie Kirk getting assassinated is way up there. It's not at a president level, but it is higher than a lot of politicians, a lot of senators out there. This is a big deal. The kid was, I'm saying the kid, he's 10 years younger than me, but he was very, very good. He was going to change America, but he's gone now.
The answers remain uncertain. But September 10th, 2025 will be remembered as a dark day. How this tragedy reshapes the future depends on what happens next.